The real story behind it is I was on a bus to see Moodeng.
Oh, of course. As one does.
Everything good comes from
Shout
Moodeng.
out. Shout out Moodeng.
They're called reply girls.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Hi.
Welcome to Reply Girls.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we made it happen.
I'm Marissa Posner. I am NYC Tel Aviv co-founder and CTO of Gold Chain Dev, Sugarcane App, Space Cadet, Skyoneers, ML Engineer, Israeli-American Fencer.
Ooh. Yes, but actually, as of the time of release of this episode, some of that will be updated. I'm starting a new job at the Ethereum Foundation on their account abstraction team.
Huge.
Yes.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like what was the moment when you were like, this feels like the right decision to make that move? Because you've been a founder for a long time.
Yeah, I think there's very few companies I would go and work for. And Ethereum Foundation is just one that I really, really deeply believe in the mission. When I found out about this opportunity, it was so specific to what they were looking for. It felt like they were just looking for me. The real story behind it is I was on a bus to see Moodeng.
Oh, of course. As one does.
Everything good comes from
Shout
Moodeng.
out. Shout out Moodeng.
And my friend Britt was talking on the bus, and I heard her say like the requirements of this job, that they were looking for someone technical, background in account abstraction, and someone that also speaks Hebrew. And I was like, oh, that's me. And really, like, I feel like I was just met for the job. And so I met their team. She introduced me, and it just kind of went from there. I think that it's hard to show up kind of in the space like as authentically as you can, but I think it's really important because it shows people that, okay, not all devs look the same. Mm-hmm. You know, we have multiple parts of our identities, and just because I like, you know, to have my nails done, that doesn't mean that I can't code or that I can't do something else. So I think it's even more important to kind of show up as myself. And I think because of that, I mean, this is like a bit vulnerable, but I think sometimes I feel like I have to be even more technical than I would be because I don't know, because I don't want to come off like, oh, I can't do this. So, for example, my role at Ethereum Foundation, it's like a product manager DevRel thing. But for the first time, I won't be coding in a job. And so that to me was the biggest mental hurdle to get over. And the hardest thing, because for so long I've always been like, no, I'm a dev, I code. And now I'm like, well, now what am I? How do I stay technical? And I mean, my role is extremely technical, but how do I stay on the technical side, but not be a dev? And like, what does that look like for me?
What role do you think relationships have played in like your journey to kind of get here? So you've noted that in every single story, like, or like anecdote that you've told. Curious if you had to articulate it, like what you'd say.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I mean, I think like everyone that's like come into my life and is important in my life has really helped me get to where I am. I mean, there were definitely really low lows of like, you know, the last like couple years, and I don't think I could have got through it without anyone else. I mean, like, for example, like Sheldon and I, for Gold, which was a blockchain for social gaming, which was our old startup, we had a launch and it didn't go how we wanted it to. And it felt like we had worked so hard for something and then it fell flat. And like, I knew that like Sheldon was there for me, I was there for him, and we were going to get through it together, and we were going to figure out a plan, and we could like think about what to do.
That's such an interesting moment to talk about if you're down a little bit, because I feel like we hear a lot about launches that go really well, but I think one of the things that is most interesting is what happens in relationships when you're disappointed by something. And it's like it sounds like, oh, a launch went badly, but like literally this is happening all the time.
That's the hallmark of a good relationship, when you go through failure together and you don't turn on each other, and you can look at it critically. Okay, what could we have done better? And that is exactly how we framed it. We built the game on chain. We had a bunch of players. Everything's going well. And we had decided that we wanted to rebrand the game because Crop XYZ sounds very crypto native, and we wanted a better title. So we found a branding agency, worked with them for months on this. We were trying to basically bring more players into the game, sell more NFTs, like to get more users. And it was like a combination of things. So we just felt like dejected when to happen. And by the way, to get that to happen, we hadn't slept for like 40 hours, something like that. And so we're exhausted and we just like wanted it to go well. And so we went home and slept because nothing was going to happen if we were that tired. And we came back the next day, made a plan, kind of diagnosed, okay, this is what went wrong. Like taking like ownership over our parts of it. And like thinking about like what we could do better. And so we created kind of a plan going forward. That's why I really believe to test a co-founder relationship, you need to go through trials. I'm a huge believer in hackathons for co-founder trials.
100% agree.
Because there's nothing more stressful than a hackathon at like 4 a.m. before it's due at like 9 a.m. where you're like scrambling to get the last minute things out. You're the worst version of yourself. You haven't slept in like 36 hours.
Ethereum Foundation throws so many incredible hackathons with such great like partnerships and prizes and spaces. Global. I've done a couple. The one in Paris 2 years ago was my favorite because they delivered fresh croissants every morning.
Oh, I was at that. That actually was the first one we trialed at.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
That's funny, yeah.
Wait, that's so cute. Thank you for coming on Reply Girls.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you.